Hi guys! I am Jack Acento Villanaban.
I am Frida Sinor. I am Denise Sanchez. I am Jeffrey Licuda.
And we are the Group 4! So we are here in
Monkayo College of Arts, Sciences and Technology. We are going to talk about the rule of English grammar.
From the BSED English 2A. So we are here to ask you some questions about the English grammar rules.
Okay, so what are these questions?
So the first question is, how long have you been teaching grammar, ma'am?
When it comes to the number of years, for now, I don't have an English grammar subject because I am only teaching general education subjects. But way back then, based on my experience, I have actually two years only of experience teaching English grammar.
What is or are your methods or strategies when you are teaching grammar?
Okay, so way back then when I was still teaching BSED students, the subject talaga is English grammar. So first talaga I am fond of applying the pre-test and the post-test just to let them, of course, attest whether they know the subject, they know the particular part of speech, example noun, and then right after that, based on the result, I have the idea already on how to, of course, teach all about noun, their strengths, what are their strengths and weaknesses when it comes to the part of speech. And the other is, yes, the direct method. I also employ direct method in which when my students have mistakes during the giving of quizzes, not just in quizzes but even to their special activities, I always correct it immediately just to, of course, let them be aware that it is really wrong. Okay, since we are talking about grammar. And remember that grammar is not just applied in the classroom, but it is actually, we can of course use grammar even outside. Communication skills is actually a very important thing, especially when we are using.
Is that, did you encounter difficulties in teaching grammar?
Of course, I have a lot of difficulties when I was still teaching grammar. No, especially that, remember that English is not our own language; it is just our second language. And basically, when we say teaching English, even seasoned speaker, even those who are really good, they also commit mistakes sometimes. So for me, since my students are not major in English, so it's hard for me to really adjust. It's hard for me to really look for a good strategy to employ in my class, just to, of course, let them understand about the nature of grammar, not just how to use it when we speak or when we write. And another thing is, some of them, especially in the application, they cannot really apply what they have learned in our basic discussion all about writing sentences. Na right after writing it, the application is you have to speak it in front of the class. Okay, just speak. Could be 2 to 3 sentences using the discussion that we had all about grammar. Parang it is the combination of all the discussions that we have, from noun up to preposition, with the discussion all about sentences, clauses, and phrases.
Perspective about the second language acquisition.
Okay, second language acquisition for me is adopting English as if it is our own language, although it is just our second language. But remember that nowadays, when we apply for a job, not just in applying for a job, but in every transaction, private or public agency, we really need to speak English. And aside from that, remember that we Filipinos, we are actually known as one of the best speakers in English. According to them, we are better when it comes to the grammar, when it comes to writing sentences. But maybe because remember that we have also issues about readings, right? But let's not talk about it. Let's focus on grammar. So for me, it is actually important. And when we are really serious studying all about grammar, especially you since you are English majors, maybe we can help to, of course, address the problems of our students in the future, your students in the future, about their difficulties about grammar as part of course, major part of teaching English, learning English in the second language acquisition. So for me, it is actually a must to learn, and it is important, not just for us in the field, but also for those who are in the other field, Okay, in the other fields, example, in the business world or in the medical world, it is really important.
So the next question, ma'am, is that what are the common difficulties that the students encounter in learning grammar?
Okay, so there are actually a lot of difficulties that they encounter in learning grammar. First is they do not know how to identify the parts of speech, especially if it is already in the sentence. Example, they do not know that it is noun, they do not know that it is pronoun, and the rest of the parts of speech. Another is basic writing of sentences. They do not know what is what is subject, what is predicate, subject part, the predicate part, and another is they do not know how to construct sentences and form or sentences and then make it and join it as one paragraph. Basic writing, they do not know that. And remember that learning grammar is you have to start from the very basic requirement, which is learning the parts of speech and then apply it in writing sentences, and by sentences to writing paragraphs for you to have a good essay, of course, output in writing. Okay,
Okay,
that's it.
ma'am.
What are the functions of English grammar in our curriculum?
Okay, so when it comes to function, first, I only have one answer to that. And the function of grammar in the curriculum is, of course, correcting and helping the students learn all about grammar so that when they speak or when they write, they can, of course, produce a good output, written output, and they can communicate comprehensively. When we say comprehensively, they can understand and they are also understood by their listeners. That's it.
Is it important to know the rules of English grammar?
Because we are English teachers and it is a must for us to know the rules, for us to teach, of course, our students what is all about English grammar, and we cannot teach, we do not have, so expected that if you do not know about English grammar, then how can you teach also your future students? That's it.
How the students improve their English grammar?
First, you have to learn the basic, studying the sentence patterns, how to write sentence. You have to know what is a word, what is a phrase, what is a clause, and of course the rules, subject-verb agreement, the pronoun antecedent agreement, what is the function of preposition, or in short, you have to know all about the function of 8 parts of speech in grammar. And of course, you have to engage yourself into reading. When you read, of course, you can learn a lot. It can, of course, help you to correct your mistakes sometimes. And it's actually one way for you to absorb new words, vocabulary, and then you can use that in writing, especially essays and other written outputs.
What is the function of English grammar in the classroom?
Okay, if you are in the classroom, of course, you're not allowed to speak vernacular or even Tagalog, no? So therefore, the role of or the function of English grammar in the classroom is to enhance your communication skills, for you to have that good communication skills since you are teachers. And that's one way for you, of course, to improve your speaking skills. And when we say speaking skills, it is actually used not just in the classroom, but even outside.
What is your advice to those students who have difficulties in learning English grammar?
Okay, especially for those who are taking Bachelor of Secondary Education, major in English, since you are already in that situation, then what I can only say is do not give up. The society needs you. Not just your society, but the world needs you. It's actually an edge if you know what is English grammar, if you can, of course, apply your learning about English grammar into application, you can apply that in reality. So for me, do not give up. You continue learning all about English grammar. Of course, at the start, it is really difficult. There is no instance there for that. There is no shortcut in learning English grammar. So you can, of course, encounter difficulties, and it is actually normal. Okay, since remember that English is not ours. We just, of course, borrowed this from the owners of English. So don't give up. Just continue studying for you to, of course, be a good English grammar teacher. Not just a good grammar teacher inside, but you can be a good communicator outside the class. Thank you.
Much, ma'am, for giving us time and allowing us to have an interview with you. Thank you so much for devoting your time and answering our question. Thank you so much.
I hope that I have answered all the questions that you need. Okay, so I am just one call away if you need something like this. Okay, as long as I am not in the classroom, or I am not busy, then anytime you can of course stop me to this type of things.
Thank
That's
you.
So
it.
guys, once again, I am Jack Acento Villanaban.
I am Jemberly Buda, Disney Sanchez, Rina Sinoy,
And we are